Hello, this is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com, a part of Redbud Realty and Associates. And this is the second part of my I.N.V.E.S.T series where I'm taking that word, using a letter to illustrate a part of investing in real estate in the Oklahoma City market. Today is the second part, and that is N. The first part was I, which is the basics of investing. Today, I gave you a little preview if you saw the first video, and you should see the first video, which is N stands for no, one of the most powerful words in the English language, and one where I think investors and realtors need to use more often to keep themselves out of harm's way. Now, I'm not saying you should talk your way out of something or that you shouldn't have a certain degree of flexibility, but no is very, very important if we put together a strategy and a game plan. First of all, that involves you trusting me. And we went through what you need to find out if you do trust your realtor in the first place in part one. And so let's say we are at that point and you do trust me. The first ability to say no is going to come from me. I don't want a home that backs up to 4-lane busy traffic. I don't want a 3-bedroom home in a 4-bedroom rental area. I don't want a house built in 1935 when you've specified a house built in 1970 or later. In other words, I want you to trust me in terms of my ability to say no when I see something and I know it's not right. And I've also vetted it out with my property manager, which we do on every property. We have to have our minds together because I'm selling it, but he's renting it. And he wants to know that it is something that is on a market need and that he can get the rent that we need to get based on historical data. So that is the first ability to say no. Now, the second ability to say no is you. Mainly because a realtor may come up and say, hey, I got this great deal. And if it doesn't sound right, if it's too good to be true, or if it just doesn't meet your needs, then you're not going to do it. Let me give you an example. I used to go out to national meetings in California for investors, and there were people from other territories. I remember this one area. And I knew this area extremely well. It was in another state, but my girlfriend was from there, been there, and she was saying that, well, hey, don't worry, this is going to rent for $1,750 a month. Now, that made the numbers look incredible, but I knew, and I think anybody with a brain would know, that that was kind of outrageous, that it just was totally out of the norm for the area she was talking about, for the market she was talking about. And when you see something like that, you should say no. And then if they say, well, I think you really ought to do it, then you should say, give me historical data. Show me enough houses, not just one house, which is a fish out of the water, but a lot of houses that are renting at that particular amount, and then maybe I might consider it. So don't believe pie in the sky. Don't believe somebody that's just trying to make the numbers work. Get historical data, and that's the first time you should say no. Now, the second time is, and I'm going to give you a real-life example of this. I've got two investors that have gone together to buy commercial property in Oklahoma City. They want to buy roughly around $1 million. Doesn't mean that they might go up a little bit, 1.1, something of that nature that would meet their needs, but basically $1 million. Now, I've said no to a couple of things because I know they're really older apartment complexes that are going to have tons of maintenance, deferred maintenance and problems. And so that 1 million may turn into 1.5. And so that's my ability to say no. But I brought them a commercial property, brand new, rented for 10 years, really fantastic property. I mean, it really was outstanding. The numbers were beautiful. The only problem was it was 1.375 million, and I understand it just sold for 1.3. Well, in that case, I gave them the opportunity to do it. I didn't obviously push it hard on them and say, you have to do this, because you don't have to do anything. But they went ahead and rejected it. And they said, look, we really appreciate it. We looked at the numbers. We looked at your comparables. Yes, it really looks good. But this is our first investment in Oklahoma City, and it's just really out of our comfort zone. And I respect that, because that's the game plan we put together. Certainly, I'm going to offer something that looks good and let them evaluate it. But the thing I really like about this is their ability to say no and say, look, this is too much. This is more than we bargained for. Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, we might be willing to do this. So always remember that no is extremely powerful. If you hear no from me and my property manager, and you trust us, and you should trust us because we do have that kind of track record, believe it. If we present something to you that we both believe is a good deal, then also understand that we're doing that to let you be aware of that. Now, we're not going to go wildly enthusiastic. If we find something in your wheelhouse that's just absolutely perfect, we're going to tell you, look, this meets every criteria that you have. We're going to expand it every once in a while, give you the opportunity to say no, and I want you to understand this. We want you to have that ability. We want you to tell us no. That is your right. That is your responsibility. You're the one that puts the game plan together. We're grateful for you. But always remember, that should be a part of your investing arsenal. N-O. This is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, where we deliver traditional real estate values at the speed of technology.